friends, we're back. Take it in, Lee. We're back, son.
Oh, I've missed it, Robbie. I've missed it, but we're back. I can't wait.
I can't wait as well. And our return comes with new opportunities to win big with AFTV PICK10. This week, we've got a combined prize pot of 12k. There's 10k for Saturday's FA Cup games and 2k for Monday's FA Cup clash, Arsenal versus Oxford United.
How do you reckon we're going to get on Monday?
2-0 to the Arsenal.
2-0? We're playing Oxford United. It's at least 3. Have a bit of faith, Robbie. We're back. Come on.
Calm down. You know what the FA Cup can be like. But listen, you can click the link right now and get involved and make your picks. Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast, brought to you today by AFTV PICK10. My man Judge in the building. The Judges is back.
They're back.
Right? Are you feeling better? I know that you've.
Yeah, I've not been 100%. Like 4 days. It really took it out of me over the new year. But I'm on the way back now. What's
wrong with you?
I had the flu, real bad. Ached all over, in bed, and the Brighton game might have said it. I was just laying there. When you're sort of like not with it. And like Saka scored on, but I couldn't jump up and cheer like on a normal circumstances.
That bad?
Yeah, that bad, you know what I mean? And I wasn't 100% going into New Year's Day, but that second Villa goal, you know what I mean? Sort of perked me up slightly.
You're about the one against Tottenham,
yeah, that perked me up slightly, but but definitely on the mend now, yeah, if anybody's got it or getting it, apparently there's a lot of it going about. But,
I had it over in Qatar, man, I'll tell you. It struck me down, man. It struck me down, the flu. It is that type of season, but of course, we got to talk about the games. You know what? First of all, we got. Should we get into our PICK10s?
Well, I know why you want to get on the old PICK10s, you know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Robbie has won one this week. He got a result. Results all over the place, and Robbie somehow manages to win.
You're harsh, man. You're harsh, right? Listen, it's a much-needed win for me.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm back in the fold again. But let's get into this week's one, right? Because it's the FA Cup. The FA Cup games, and we are going to touch on the FA Cup. We're also going to have a little bit of a talk about the Newcastle game the other day as well. But the FA Cup is back. Now, let's just have a quick run through PICK10s here. Tottenham versus Portsmouth. Who are you gone for?
Tottenham.
Yeah, so have I, unfortunately. If they don't win that at home. And they'll put a strong team out, you know them.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so desperate to win a trophy.
Yeah.
So they'll put a strong team out. Oh, Palace versus Southampton.
Well, after what I see of Palace the other day, you know what I mean? Southampton. I've got to go Palace.
Rubbish,
I've got to go Palace.
Yeah, Southampton are rubbish. Forest Green Rovers versus Birmingham City.
Oh, Birmingham just dropped off a little bit, you know what I mean? But
our boy Austin Trusty's here.
We'll go Birmingham.
Right, Gillingham versus Leicester. I've gone for Leicester. Blackpool versus Nottingham Forest. Our boy Charlie Patino's there, but you got fancy Forest.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go Blackpool on that.
You're going Blackpool. I'm going Forest. Forest. They've got so many players that don't normally play. They'll get a run out, innit?
I think.
Queens Park Rangers versus Fleetwood Town.
Yeah, I've got to go QB. I've got to go with the London boys.
Yeah, me too. Coventry versus Wrexham.
Oh, Coventry, but Wrexham are.
I'm going for a shock here.
You're going to go for a shock?
Go Wrexham. Brentford versus West Ham.
I'm going to West Ham. I'm going to back the Hammers.
Brentford for me. Rest in peace to David Gold. That was sad news, wasn't it?
Sad news.
I was shocked by that.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday versus Newcastle United.
Sheffield Wednesday. After Newcastle.
Well,
it depends if they want to go. Are they going to go and park the bus Newcastle?
They're desperate. I think they're desperate for a win.
Come on, Sheffield Wednesday.
They want to
always like Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I like Sheffield Wednesday as well. I'd like them to win it, but I do think Newcastle and Liverpool versus Wolves.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. Although no Van Dijk now.
No,
he could be out for a little bit. So that's
still have too much.
That's interesting. There's my one entered, right? And remember, you can enter yours as well. AFTV PICK10. There's a combined prize pot this weekend of 12 grand 10 grand for Saturday's FA Cup games. And also, don't forget the special that we're doing on Monday, Arsenal versus Oxford United. Make sure you get involved in that. You can click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get involved in it right now. And me and Lee, of course, going head to head.
Yeah.
Lee, the Newcastle game the other day, I bet you thought maybe I should have been in bed for that one as well. Do you know what? It wasn't really a boring...
No, it's an interesting game.
It wasn't a boring game, but where do you stand on... There's been a lot of criticism since the game on Newcastle's tactics. Listen, you said after the game that you thought it was a compliment to Arsenal.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that they were so negative. I was kind of surprised at how negative they were. But listen, they got the job done. They got a point. They came for a point, and they got a point.
What's the biggest compliment for me is that when Newcastle went to Spurs, they attacked them. When they went to Man United, they attacked them. When they come to us, they had no intentions of doing that. Like, they parked the bus. And listen, I'm not criticising. They can do what they want, and I'm going to say, they defended fantastically well, organised. The one thing I don't like about the way they went about it, with all the money and very, very some good players. Let's be honest. I don't like the way that they tried to time waste, faking injuries to get the job done. That was poor on their behalf.
There was one time, Lee, there was 3 players down with cramp.
and what makes me laugh is that a few Newcastle fans and all that saying, you've got to learn to deal with it. Well, like you did against Leeds, you know what I mean? Because you certainly weren't dealing with it then. You know
and they were all moaning about
that, and the players all getting the ump and things like that. So they know what it's like. We had it. We got done by it, and we have to accept it.
Did you hear them say that the ball was only in play?
Yeah, I did.
For roughly 45 minutes. Now, a game lasts 90 minutes. The ball's actually only in play for 45 minutes. And as a matter of fact, something now needs to be done. I heard David Dean on the radio the other day, and I remember when I interviewed him, he was going on about this idea that he's got, that he thinks games now should be reduced to 60 minutes. Right? Now, when he first said it, I was like, what? Why are we reducing the games? And he said that. He goes, if you actually look at games, most games, the ball's in play around about 50 minutes, just over 50 minutes, right? So he goes, reduce it to 60 minutes and then just have a stop clock. And you only play the times when the ball's in play.
Yeah. And
all the other times, the clock stops, like what they do in American sports. And I'm all for that idea because right now, when we're watching games of football, we don't know, and I've said this many a times, we don't know how long the game's going on for. When the board's held up at the end of a game, it's a lottery. The referees don't even... they don't add on... We you know why we know now? You know why we know now that's true? The World Cup.
Yeah.
At the start of the World Cup, they put out this initiative where they said, to cut out time wasting, we are going to add on all the time that is wasted. So you started seeing games at the start of the World Cup, 14 minutes added on.
Yeah.
11 minutes, 12, 50. And, people are like, what's going on? But that was the real time that was being wasted within a game. What happened? After about 2 rounds of games, all of a sudden, you started seeing that 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It came right down because teams realised there was no point in time wasting.
Yeah.
And that, you waste loads of time and then there's 15 minutes added on at the end of the game. It's like you're playing you're tired now and you have to play a way longer game. And that's not sustainable throughout a tournament.
No.
So all of a sudden, the time wasting came down. Now, you look at somebody like Nick Pope the other day in goal. He wasted so much time and got away with it because I've never, ever, ever seen a player sent off for time wasting. Even if they give him 1 yellow card, he's not getting another. Not getting another for time wasting. No referee's going to do it. So something has to be done. Why don't we know? We should be able to be watching the game in real time, right? And this is not just to do with the Arsenal-Newcastle game. This is to do with football in general. we should know. They shouldn't need to hold the board up, right? Or the board should just be held up just for the fans in the ground and just for the players to reconfirm how much time's added on. But they should be able to know just by looking at the clock how much time's been added on.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the same in every other sport.
But even so, like, you know, they put 5 minutes up on the other day, and we all knew, Robbie, that weren't right.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's a guess.
And basically what that done was just sort of said, that to me, like, you know, football is an entertainment. We pay money to go and watch it there. What that referee done by saying 5 minutes has just encouraged every single team in the Premier League and above or beyond to just time waste.
Yeah, because you know that if you time waste, that's the maximum, really, 5-6 minutes.
There should have been 10 minutes of that.
The only time, Lee, you see it like about 10 minutes is if somebody's gone down injured and he's been
long-term injury.
You know, like they've been out and they've been stretchered off and that. That's the only time you'll see 8, 9, 10 minutes. I think the other day the City game was like 11 minutes. Only time you see that. But if it's just like time wasting, they don't add it on. And the proof is the World Cup, when they did add it on, and you saw, we were all shocked by how much extra time there was.
Yeah, and like,
something has to be done.
And what would have
can't have a ball in play for 45 minutes.
And what would have been great there if the ball would have come up there 12 minutes or 10 minutes, you know what I mean, like, and then Arsenal scored in the last minute. Would Newcastle be using that tactic again? I'm not criticising Newcastle, by the way, for this. I'm just saying it.
Listen, you use the tactics.
They what's the word that they push the boundaries of the rules to the minimum, to the maximum.
Yeah.
And fair play to them. Not criticising them. Nothing wrong with that. And when that ball come up 5 minutes, Eddie Howe and his assistant rubbed their hands and they said, well, that's fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of it being going 10 minutes and maybe something would have happened. But listen, that's the way it was. I'm not just going to go down the referee route. And by the way, he was so inexperienced. Again, you know, we've got a new referee now in Howard Webb. What the hell is he putting an inexperienced referee to a game like that? First versus third, lot riding on it. Lost the plot by giving out silly yellow cards, not just to Arsenal players, to Newcastle players as well. Because what happened was he gave out a silly yellow card to a Newcastle player, and then Eddie made a tackle and he felt that he had to do the same thing. Just ridiculous, poor refereeing, inexperienced, and it ruins the spectacle of a game of football as well. Like,
and then also it was ruined by VAR because I'm sorry, the VAR again. You know, the inconsistencies of these guys on the VAR, right? First of all, I'll give them credit. The handball at the end, they got that right. That wasn't a handball.
No, I don't think.
I think if that's given, it's really, really harsh.
You wouldn't want it to be given against you.
No, I think it'd be really, really. Listen, we've seen them give.
Yeah, and against us by it.
We've seen them given by, right? But it weren't, right? But I want to know, and this is where, again, this is something else that needs to happen in refereeing. There needs to be a reason given for why they felt that was not a penalty on Gabriel.
Yeah, they've got to come out and say it.
Was it Dan Burn who was like literally pulled his shirt off him in the box, which, remember, he's running through to try and header the ball. Burn sees him, and the only way to stop him is grab him, pull him back. How is that not a penalty when you got VAR? And I'm not blaming the referee here because he might have been, I don't even know exactly what his position was. He might have been unsighted to it, but this is where the VAR, who are looking at that, they should be checking that and saying to the referee, listen, it's a penalty. You've missed this one. It's a penalty. He's pulled him back. They didn't even check it. What the hell is going on?
They've done it at Man United, and they got a penalty for that, like, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't even see that incident. There was no indication from the.
Well, you saw when Gabriel went down, and he was.
Well, I didn't even see it. You know what I mean? I didn't see it. So, like, go.
He's probably eating
what's more annoying about that, Robbie, is in the first half there was a bump of there was a bump of two players, and it comes up on the screen, penalty check.
Yeah.
Which was never a penalty.
No.
Never, but it was funny enough, it's against us.
Against
you
us.
know what I mean? Like, and then when you get home and you actually watch the highlights and you see that, you think, well, how's that been missed? So realistically now, what needs to happen now is Mr. Howard Webb needs to come out and go, well, the reason that wasn't given is because of this, not brush it under the carpet.
Remember the other day they came out and they said they put out a thing like of some decisions that they got wrong.
Yeah.
Which included our one at Man United.
Yeah.
Which would have been a pivotal. All of us who was at the game on that day were like, what the hell's that for? Right? Now it came out that actually, sorry guys, we got that wrong. Yeah? But look how long they took for them to say that. Right? I would have wanted them on the day to come out and say they got it wrong or something like that. But this is what I'm saying. It's like, listen, referees are a really hard job. We've got to acknowledge that, right? It is a tough job. Let's be real. It's a tough job. And, you know, we look at it through our, you know, rose-tinted glasses sometimes for our Arsenal and decisions being made. But it is a really, really tough job. But that's why the VAR is there to help them out. I don't see what the excuse is for the other night for whoever's in VAR missing that shirt tug. I don't get it.
No, listen. What annoys me about it as well is that the game against West Ham, there's a penalty given there, and everybody applauds the decision because he hasn't gone down. It's never happened before, but against Arsenal, they decide to give the penalty. Fair enough. So give it. You know what I mean? And I accept that. But when you see something like that 3 or 4 days later, come out now and say why that wasn't given, because you know there'd be another one next week and they give it. And this is the big thing. I don't want to go too much into it because at the end of the day, look, we wasn't good enough on the day, and you know, I'm going to be really honest. I felt at the time, okay. So the more it's gone on, the more and more I'm annoyed. I've been really like, you know, I'm going to say it now. I'm not being negative, and I'm not going to have a go at anybody with all this. But I pay my money at a season ticket and for quite a lot of money to go into a game of football against one of the best teams in the league defensively, first versus third, and we have not got an attacking option to bring off the bench. I think is a joke, Robbie, like for us to be in this situation. You know what I mean? It's not good enough.
Well, it's injuries, aren't it?
Well, is it?
Well, it is, yeah.
Well, we've had one injury up front. Or two with Smith Rowe as well. Reece Nelson's out. Yeah, Reece Nelson as well. You know, look,
Smith Rowe's out. And Jesus is out.
So those injuries have, you know, and I still say, well, at this moment in time, we haven't got no one at the moment. In January, for me, like, if nothing is done by that Tottenham game, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be furious.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're trying to get the Mudryk deal done.
Well, if that can't be done, we'll want Bellingham back.
Basket case Chelsea involved, right? Where, you know what they're like, they're just trying to throw money at I mean, with the Mudryk thing, it's quite obvious he wants to come to Arsenal. He's made it clear. You can see all his social media posts, everything. He wants to come to Arsenal, right? But the problem is, Chelsea are now hovering around, offering to pay more money than we'll pay. Shakhtar Donetsk's club, they want as much money as they can get. You know, they're talking about 88 million, which is ridiculous. But we've offered a lot of money for him. And he wants to come. But you are right. We need to get this done before that Tottenham game because we need reinforcements. It was very, very telling the other day that you looked on our bench, there was no attacking options really to bring on apart from Marquinhos, who's a youngster who, let's face it, when they bought him in at first, they were saying they're probably going to send him on loan.
Yeah.
And Fabio Vieira, I know a lot of people were losing it and saying, why didn't we bring him on? I understood why we didn't bring him on because he's quite a lightweight player. He's a good player, a talented player. I like him. He's still developing. But would he have been right to bring him on in such a physical game? You know what I mean? Guimaraes in there, Joe Linton. That you saw how physical that game was. Was that the game for him?
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm with you on that.
But you're right. We should be bringing on a club like Arsenal. We should be bringing on. I mean, they bought on Chris Wood, a striker. They bought on Alan St. Maximin, who's like a, you know, how have they got more players in that position to bring on than us? And I think, you know,
He chose to do nothing. He chose to do nothing.
Yeah.
And not freshen that team up apart from bring on.
Well, he brought on Tommy Asu.
Yeah, because
he's not going to get you a goal because Ben White was knackered.
Tired, because I think he's not been well. So there you go. So that tells you everything you know. Now, it's not a criticism at Mikel. No one's having a go at him for that. Like I get what he was saying, but that should not be the case. That he has to go through that.
The good thing about it is that we can do something about it now. We're in January, right? If you actually think about it, the injury to Gabriel Jesus, if it was going to come at any time, this is one of the better times it could have come at, right? Because at least
you get it done now.
We can do something about it. At the moment, there's the option of Mudryk. There's even João Felix who's out there. I think one of those two have to come in this January. We've got to have more attacking options because we're going to have more games like this.
And if not,
I'll tell you what. Who we got at home next?
Man United.
Man United, or maybe not so much. Man United will be pretty defensive, I feel, and try and catch us on the counter because that's always their tactic. But some of the other teams that are going to come, like say for instance, Brentford, I think is coming up.
Yeah,
they're looking at what Newcastle did the other day, and they're like, you know what?
Yeah, they're going to
because they did a similar thing the other day to Liverpool, and it worked, right? So we have got to have options. You know what I mean? So if we go a goal down or if we finding it really difficult to unlock teams, because you think about it, a lot of times unlocking teams happens late in a game. Yeah. When those teams that they've been throwing their body on the line for the whole game, they're absolutely shattered. That's when you bring on what you call your finishers.
Yeah.
That they come on later on and they just come on and they're just like, right, they're fitter, they're stronger, they're ready, and they can use their freshness to get that opening. But we didn't have that the other night. And that, I understand why you're upset about it.
Yeah, I am. Like Smith Rowe's going to be a key coming back as well. Like
I reckon he could be back for the Oxford game.
Yeah, well, even if could they have just put him on the bench for 10 minutes in that game? I don't know. Like what I mean, the medical staff know better than us. Like the other thing that's bugging me as well. Like I'm going to come out of it now. There's another thing.
Miserable,
that's bugging me. I know, it's bugging me. Like is the antics of Mikel are being criticised. By our own fans, like and the media, because he was.
I love it.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
First of all, like when Mourinho done it, the press and everybody. Do you think Chelsea fans are slagging him off because he done it and all that? Like, no.
Arsenal fans slagging him off.
Yeah, it's just saying, we shouldn't be doing that.
I love it. I love it. No. Mikel, keep doing it, man.
Keep doing whatever you're doing. Like,
listen, when Arsene Wenger was there, one of the criticisms he used to get off of our fans sometimes.
No passion.
Oh, I want to see more from him. He's just stood up there doing his zip up. Yeah. Now we got a guy, right, who's passionately... I love it.
Yeah.
He's running down that line, he's remonstrating and stuff like that.
Gets involved in the game and all that.
Yeah, I love it.
And listen, what has annoys me about it at the moment, and it's like there's a few things that just starting to grind me a little bit, is that if you've backed Mikel Arteta, you've got to gloat about how great I backed him all the way and everything like that. And you've got the people that have not backed him now will look at any sort of thing to criticise. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, just be gracious either way. Yes, you got that opinion right, but you ain't going to get every opinion right and whatever. And I look at it now like, it's bad enough if the press are looking to dig at us. It's bad enough if
Richard Keys.
They all want to have a go. Oh, look at his antics on the line and all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, blah blah. What he says and all that. Listen, he's our manager, whether you like it or whether you don't. And at the end of it, I love him. What I'm seeing with him doing all that at this moment in time. And you know what I mean? It's getting on my goat.
The two best managers in the league, or probably the three best. What they say, what people university say are the three best managers in the league. They all do it.
Of course they do. They kicked a ball the other week.
Yeah, Klopp does it.
Pep.
Guardiola's does it.
Yeah.
Conte's always running up and down and stuff like that. I love it that our manager, he does it as well. He's like, and what I like was when they back it up with what happens on the pitch, right? So for me, the football we're playing, he embodies that, our manager. You can see he wants the team to play with the same passion
as he's got
and intensity that he has, and that's the same with Klopp, and that's the same with Guardiola at City. So there's nothing wrong with it. All right, sometimes he can sort of go a little bit over the line a bit. It happens, man. I love the passion. City fans ain't moaning about Guardiola, I'll tell you that. And Klopp, look at some of the stuff Klopp's done over the years.
Yeah, and I'm with you on this.
I like Klopp. Well, I rate him as and Guardiola. To me, they transfer that to their players.
And when you've got that passion, right, in a game of football, right, and we've played the game, and you even watch the game. Sometimes you do some things you don't necessarily that you would do normally yourself. You go overboard or whatever. Like,
well, they said him and Eddie had a bit of confrontation.
Yeah, and they've forgotten about that.
They asked Eddie how about it. He said, "Listen, man, it's nothing."
And I said,
it is what it is. I mean, the heat of the battle.
Exactly, you can't actually be graceful and everything there when the passion of a game of football. Sometimes the passion overtakes that side of it.
You're going to war, man. You're going to war. Yeah. This is first versus third.
And I love all that.
Yeah, first versus third. You're going to war, right? You know what I mean? You know, for those 90 minutes, you're going to war with Newcastle. Newcastle want what we've got. They want to knock us off our perch.
Yeah.
We want to win the league. We want to stretch out our lead further. It's going to be a high-intensity game. We expect the manager just to be walking out.
When we score, I love it that he's jumping up and down.
Yeah,
and all
love that.
Like, love it all. Like, you know
love that. And, you know, we're playing some great... You know what, as well? I want to credit Mikel Arteta, right? Because some of the football we're playing, when you think there's the break that we had for the World Cup, we've come back exactly the same. You know what I mean? People don't make sure you're not missing that. That, you know, after the break, we've come back exactly the same as what we were playing before. We went away to Brighton. Really impressive display. I know at the end we got a bit sloppy with the goals, but to put 4 past Brighton, we put 3 past West Ham. All right, we couldn't break down Newcastle. But you look at the Christmas period, we've returned 7 points. That's good. That is championship winning form. Yeah. To return 7 points in those 3 games over the festive period.
And also, again, you're only playing Brighton. You're only playing Brighton.
Well, what did they do?
Brighton just gone to Everton and won 4. I'll take a 4-1 win at game.
Brighton are a top side.
Brighton in a few weeks' time.
Brighton have beaten top sides this season. Brighton, you know what I mean? You know, they've beaten Man United, right? They've beaten top teams. They've smashed up Chelsea, remember, right? So... You know,
I remember Brentford when we beat Brentford. It's only Brentford.
It's only Brentford.
Yeah, you know what I mean,
look what they did to Liverpool.
Look what they've done to a lot of teams. So
right. Brentford have beaten Liverpool. They've beaten Man City. They've beaten. They beat Chelsea. They drew with Chelsea, didn't they?
I think they beat Chelsea. I think drew with Spurs.
They drew with Spurs. It's only Brentford when we beat them.
Yeah.
So we'll continue beating only those teams.
Yeah, I mean, so at the end of it, when the press and everybody's digging, look, the one thing, I've seen fans having a go at Mikel Arteta for his answers. Look,
I love it.
We all stick together. You know what I mean? Like, don't matter if you think he's doing things wrong and all that. Don't say it. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
I'm going to say it now. I love it.
I love it. I love it.
We love it. Keep doing it, like,
keep doing it, man.
He actually got criticised for it against Klopp on that. No, it might have cost us the game and all that. But I tell you what, don't take liberties.
That just goes to show you, because remember that day, right, when we was at that game, right? We were sort of playing well. We were a bit on top until he went and got very angry with Klopp. Then Klopp got angry.
Yeah.
And Klopp got animated. And what happened? Liverpool, their players rose to that, and their fans. So you can see why these managers do it. Now, keep doing it, Mikel, man. Yeah. You're doing a great job. And as it stands, in the Premier League, Arsenal are on 44 points. City, at the time of this video, they're going to be playing tonight against Chelsea. We're praying they drop points, but they're on 36. Newcastle in third on 35, but they played a game more than us. And they are 9 points behind us, and we've got a game in hand over them. Man United creeping up, by the way.
Yeah.
9 points behind us, but they've played same amount of games as us. And Spurs 5th, Liverpool 6th, Chelsea. You know where Chelsea are?
Yeah, I've just seen that.
10th. Crazy, isn't it?
And they've got some difficult games coming up now.
Crazy. We're nearly 20 points above them. It's mad, isn't it?
I think Chelsea have got have they got Man United in the FA Cup this weekend or something? Like, there's a real big FA Cup game. And then I think they've got Liverpool coming up. They've got some real difficult
Yeah,
games.
there were some tough games, man. But listen,
talk about like
Arsenal
worry about Mudryk. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Carry on the way you're going. You'll be worrying about relegation.
well, you know what? Just going back on that Mudryk thing, and the interesting thing I was saying is like, if you think about it, now this is again, we find ourselves in a different position now when it comes to transfers, right? Because normally, Mudryk might be thinking to himself, yeah, but if I go to Chelsea, they're going to pay me good wages, so will Arsenal. But if I go to Chelsea, look, I've got a chance of winning the league possibly, and I'm going to play in the Champions League. That ain't the case now.
No.
Because he might be looking at it thinking, boy, I'm looking at Arsenal, man. That's an exciting project, man. Look how exciting that team is. Mikel Arteta, progressive team, great players. I'm looking at Chelsea, man. Boy, there's some players there. I don't know, they're on the way out. Fans are in a bit of they're all moaning and stuff like that. They ain't going to win the league. No chance of them winning the league this season.
Chelsea are never going to be the same now.
They're miles off.
Never going to be
the same. And actually, you know, I mean, when I look on it, you know, Chelsea, they're 10 points off the top four. I don't even think they're going to get in the top four. You know, I ain't going there.
Chelsea, like, you know, this is where Chelsea used to be back before the money. Like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, like,
so at the moment, it's like, if you're looking at Chelsea and Arsenal, the only thing that would make you go there as it goes this season is the money.
Money, yeah.
The fact that, you know, they still have that ability to blow teams out of the water when it comes to wages and money and that. But as regards progressive team, project, everything like that, Arsenal is way more attractive.
Get on board.
Get on board, man. We're getting back to how it used to be.
Yeah. Great, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
So listen, the league is going to be set aside. You know, we've got our next game up against Tottenham next week. And yeah, I'm going to leave that till next week. We'll get into that big time on the show next week.
I'm looking forward to the old. Well, you get no Spurs lot in again for the old PICK10, like, you know, like starting 11.
The debate. Yeah, we are.
Oh, well, like, looking forward to that.
But I thought we set that aside. It's the FA Cup weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, Arsenal away to Oxford United. I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to that ground before.
No, it's new one, isn't
it? So new ground to visit. The FA Cup, though, when you think about this season, what's going on for Arsenal, chance of winning the league, I'm going to ask you two questions. Number one, does it matter this season, the FA Cup? You know, when we're going for a bigger prize, does it really matter? And where would you list the FA Cup in your list of priorities for this season?
For me, the FA Cup will always be special, and I want us to do well in it. And I don't like it when we don't. Like, a couple of years ago, I think we went to Southampton. Was it Southampton with a weekend side? Went out. Nottingham Forest last season, first round, went out. I don't like it. I like us to be in the FA Cup deep.
You've won the FA Cup more times than any other team.
Yeah, more than anybody else. Special. And yeah, so I want us to do well again. I don't think.
So you think, regardless, it matters big time?
Yeah, I think because at the end of the day, and I don't think Arsenal are in a position to be arrogant about winning trophies. You know what I mean? Like, there's only a few trophies you can win at the end of it. Like, you know, not everybody can win the league. The FA Cup is a little bit more easier to win because, you know, there's the draw and everything like that. Cup competitions is easier to win. So for me, it is important. Is it a priority?
Where is it in your list of priorities this season?
Well, it's got to be third now. It would, you know what I mean? I'm going to be genuine. League first, Europa League, because obviously that gives you the Champions League, and then the FA Cup. But listen, at the beginning of the season, did you think Arsenal would I never thought Arsenal would be any chance of winning the league. So I was looking at it.
Yeah, but now we have got a chance.
Now we have got a chance. Yeah. So
would you know, if there's a couple of games, right, like, you know, like all right, you know, I was going to say if there's a game, you know, we get past Oxford and there's a couple of games where, you know, it's a really difficult game at the weekend, and then, you know, would you sacrifice? But then actually thinking about it, we've got a very important game next weekend. We've got Tottenham, North London derby, but it means more to us this time because we got to get a result there, right? Yeah. To keep us in that push to try and win the league, right? So what about the team you put out against Oxford this weekend? Is that
Well, I think
is that a very, very weakened team?
Well, it shouldn't be a weakened team, should it? Like my I'll tell you what my team would be for the Oxford game.
All right,
It'd be
hold on. I want, yeah. Let me see. I'm going to go into the squad here. Just
and I'll be really like you've got 6 days before you play Spurs.
yeah.
Right, so you play Monday and then you play Sunday. So you've got a nice few days resting and all that. But I'll go Turner in goal.
Yeah.
Right back will be Tommy Asu. Left back Tierney. Central defensive partnership of Holding and Saliba. Then in the midfield it will be El Neni, Lakonga and Vieira. Up front will be Marquinhos, Smith Rowe and Eddie.
So it's not that important to you then?
Yeah, well, that should be good enough to beat Oxford.
You said how important it is.
That should be good enough to beat Oxford.
Should.
Yeah, well,
But
I'll have all my big guns on the bench as well. I'll have them all on the bench for that game.
You just sort of got how important it is, and you really.
Well, I think that you know, if that doesn't beat Oxford, right, then there's question marks, aren't there, of players that are coming in. So that back four is as good as back four. You'd be happy if that started a Premier League game.
Why Saliba instead of and not Gabriel?
Because Saliba, I still think needs games. He's had 5-6 games when he's not, 5-6 weeks where he hasn't trained. I just think he needs more games. A little bit more game time. That's all I'm saying on that. Like maybe even like 20 minutes from the end, bring him off and bring on Gabriel.
I mean, to be fair, I like that team. I like so Matt Turner in goal, 100%. Tommy Asu, come on, that's like a first team player, needs games.
Holding's done nothing wrong.
Saliba, I understand that. And definitely Tierney. Lakonga playing where Xhaka would normally play, and El Neni playing number 6, and Fabio Vieira, sort of doing the playing where Odegaard would play.
Yeah.
He's starting with Smith Rowe. Marquinhos, I agree with that one. Eddie, I agree with that one. But he's starting with Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I think like he needs an hour.
Start.
Yes, hour.
You know what FA Cup games are like?
Hour.
Tackles are going to be flying in.
He needs to get battle. He needs. Well, when you ain't going to play him at Spurs, are you? Not going to play him at Man United. He needs to play in this game, get 90 minutes, 60, 70 minutes under his belt, and then he's 20 minutes against Spurs, and then 20 minutes against Man United, and then he's ready. He is then ready. Because then after that, hopefully we've got another FA Cup game because we'd have beaten Oxford. If not, we've got a week off. So, listen, Smith Rowe, I think, is going to be very, very key to Arsenal. Yeah,
he's a goal scorer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a goal scorer.
So, like the other night, we could have done with him. You know what I mean? He could have brought him off the bench.
He does things differently, doesn't he? Let's get this right. I'm a massive, massive fan of his. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Me too.
To get him in the team, I think once he's fit, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be pushing because he is a very, very good player for us. So, I think it's going to be very, very important. And these FA Cup games, this is where, for me, when you get players like, this is where the likes of El Neni and Lakonga, Marquinhos, this is where they earn their money. They come in now for these FA Cup games and get us through those rounds, and on top of that, we're getting those players, Partey, Xhaka and that rested. Ready for the Spurs game, like, you know what I mean? Now, it's an important thing for Spurs. I think Spurs will rest, I'd be very surprised if they've got all of their players playing.
I think they'll go strong.
Yeah, they will go strong
because they're so desperate to win the trophy.
They're at home as well.
And they're desperate to win the trophy, and I think they'll go pretty strong.
So we'll have to wait and see on that thing. But if we can just rest a few and then just get them 10, 15, 20 minutes at the end, I think it'll be a good thing for us. Yeah,
listen, that team should be good enough to beat Oxford. Oxford mid-table in League One.
Yeah.
Their last, looking at some of their fixtures in December, they lost 3-1. No, sorry, they beat Charlton at home 3-1. On Boxing Day, they lost 3-0 away to Ipswich. Drew 0-0 Sheffield Wednesday on the 17th, and right at the start, Accrington won Oxford won, and their last game they lost at home to Exeter. So they're mid-table in League One. Listen, you can't get over complacent in the FA Cup because in essence, it's the FA Cup. We've seen shocks in the past. I agree with the team that you said. You know what I mean? We have firepower on the bench.
Yeah.
Because there is a big gap. You are right.
Yeah.
There's a big. I actually think, just going off of what Mikel Arteta's done in the past, I think he'd go stronger than what you said.
I think he could well do.
I think he'd go stronger. I think he'll want to make sure the game's won. Right, like so, I can see him going. Maybe the back four that you suggested. I agree. I don't think he'll start with Smith Rowe. I can see him start with like a Martinelli,
and then bring Smith Rowe on,
and bring in Smith Rowe and later. And he may not even start with a Marquinhos. I can see him starting with a Saka, and bringing Marquinhos on as well. Because just looking at the pattern of him in some of the games, even sort of in the latter stages of the Europa League when we were kind of already there. He plays with quite strong teams.
Yeah.
And he's not sort of like when... You remember back in the day, Arsene Wenger, you know what's coming in a game like this. It's all kids and everyone's rested. But I think he's going to look on it and say to himself, you know what? We're not like what you said. No game until next week, Sunday.
That could be the key.
I want to keep these players sharp. I'm going strong. And then I think you'll see loads of other first teamers on the bench, and then there'll be a mixture of kids like... that we've seen him do. But I think he'll go stronger than what you've said. Yeah. Because I think, he's one thing about him, I don't know if this is something that he sort of picked up from Pep Guardiola over the years, like try to go with quite a strong team to start that game, to get the game won first.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that if he does that because of that 6 days rest and everything like that. I think if it was a midweek game in between, that may be different. But, I do feel that a few of those players need a bit of game time. Certainly
Smith Rowe, definitely.
Certainly El Nini, Smith Rowe. Yeah. The ones that, Tommy Asu, definitely. Kieran Tierney, I think, can count himself a little unlucky that he's been left out of the side. But when you look at the performances of Zinchenko, particularly against Newcastle, he's brilliant. Yeah. He was brilliant. The central defensive one is, I think, an interesting one. I think Ben White... looks a bit jaded in the last game.
Yeah, Ben White needs a rest. Yeah. I'd give him a rest and say to him, you rest yourself up for the Tottenham game. And bring it, and like you said, Tommy Asu needs minutes. Yeah. And, I don't know, with Cedric, he'll probably, they're still saying that he's going to be moving to Fulham. They're just trying to sort it because his wages at the moment seems to be a problem. But if not, maybe he might even be in the...
Well, he's not getting a look in at the moment, is he really, and... if you was to be honest, if anything does happen to Ben White now, Ben White, by the way, by him doing that right back role, sort of pushed Cedric out even further, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, listen, it'd be a great move for Cedric. I wish him good luck and everything like that. He's been a good servant to Arsenal. He's given it his best. He's not quite what we like, but at the end of it, he's a good squad player.
Yep.
But El Nini needs to have minutes as well in there. Ultimate professional, as we say. So, and I also think with Eddie, people going, we've got to rest Eddie. Rest Eddie. He's been rested all bloody season.
I'd start Eddie as well because you're right. He's not. Up until a couple of games ago, he wasn't been starting. He wants to start week in, week out. You just treat this like it's another week.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Eddie for me definitely starts. And as I said, that's why I feel, because of the gap, because it's not a few days later, that's why I feel, do not be shocked on that day. You see a very, almost resembling literally the first team. Well, I will not be surprised in that at all.
It wouldn't bother me if we did.
I really do think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to go out there, he's going to say, I want to get this game won first. Put it to bed, then bring on your Smith Rowes and you because there's a big gap between, so you just treat it like another week. Yeah. We're back another week, lads. But it's Oxford.
Yeah, so, I've got no problem with that.
Rather than you go out there and put in a little disjointed performance and that ahead of Tottenham, you want to go out there and put in a confident performance, get that done. There is always someone could get injured and that. There's always that risk, but
it's a decent pitch.
I'm just going off of what I've seen with him when it comes to these games, and You said it. Remember the last couple of seasons?
Yeah,
we've gone out in the third round, which is unheard of a lot of times for Arsenal because we normally win this thing.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't
that was a disappointment. I don't know how it really feels about that. But looking back on that, I was fuming after that Forest game. Fuming the way we played that day, and you know,
we got done. We got turned over.
And playing in an all-white kit and all that. Do you remember it? Like, you know what I mean? Trying to make a thing of it and all that, and then went out and put performance like that. On the back afterwards, by the way, on the back of a fantastic performance against Manchester City. I know we lost that game, but we played really, really well that day and then turned in a performance like that.
Yeah, and he'd be conscious of that. One thing I've noticed with Arteta, he learns from his mistakes.
Yeah.
I expect a strong team. I think he'd be stronger than what you said. And I think 2-0 to the Arsenal. I think they get it done earlier on in the game. Where you going?
I said 3-0. I think
it could be. It could be 3-0. I don't know. I just said 2-0. Yeah. But I think we'll get it done. And yeah, just keep the team fresh, man, because next week is the big one, the North London derby. And also, why don't we go for the double this season? You know what I mean?
Well, you know, we've
got a favourable draw.
We've done it before. We've done it before. You know what I mean? So we've got a favourable draw at this moment, and so have Tottenham. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, you know, look, listen, Chelsea are playing Man United, as we said. There's some Premier League games. That's the thing you don't want on the third round is a Premier League clash. You know what I mean? Like, so we've been fortunate on that part there. You know, Oxford are going to go for it. It'll be an enjoyable game for them. Yeah. You know, and let's put a stat out there which is not a very nice one. We've never beaten Oxford away from home.
Yeah, when's the last time we played?
Well, it was a long time ago, but four times we've been
is
there.
Is that
right? Once in the league and got done, I think 3-0, and they'd done us in a cup game as well. I remember, like, you know. So
Man United got Everton, by the way.
Man United got Everton. Chelsea got then. They've got Manchester City again. They've got Manchester City then.
Chelsea have got Liverpool. Have got Wolves.
Yeah, I think it's a Sunday, Man City. Must be Man City then.
Man City, Chelsea.
Yeah,
Man City, Chelsea.
Yeah, so there you go.
At City. So, yeah, one of the big boys are going to go, one of them two. You know, so, yeah, let's go for it, man.
So why would you want to go Chelsea like that? I mean, mid-table, probably out of the FA Cup. The old days are happening back at Stamford Bridge, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? It's all coming back there, like, you know what I mean? They'll be out of the Champions League and that'll be like, you know, back to old Chelsea, like, you know.
I'm just looking at some of the games.
6 supporters and 3 cars round the ground, like, you know what I mean?
Well, United get Everton, so they'll go for it.
Oh, yeah, United. Yeah, that's a Friday. Is that
that's Friday? That's a Friday night, yeah. And then, like...
Well done, Man United.
Palace, Southampton, so that's another two you know, sort of Premier League teams.
Yeah.
Tottenham, like you said, they've got Portsmouth. Who else is in there? Premier League teams.
Middlesbrough, Brighton, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Newcastle, Sheffield Wednesday, that should be all right. Liverpool, Wolves, so that's another Premier League team will go. Brentford, West Ham. And as you said, I mean, that one, there's City. Leeds have got to go away to Cardiff. Villa got Stevenage. City versus Chelsea. So we probably got one of the easiest draws out of the whole thing. I mean, Villa got Stevenage. That's easy, but, you know, on paper.
But you look at that and you just think to yourself, like, you know, Chelsea are struggling a little bit, like, you know, Man City coming, you don't want that. You know, Everton, for instance.
You don't want to be playing Man City back to back.
Nah.
Remember we had that? We played them in the final. Played them in the final of the League Cup, got smashed. Yeah. Then they come to the next week.
Done it again.
About a few days later and smashed us again.
Yeah.
Those were the old days.
You know, like, you got, like, Everton are struggling at the moment, like, you know what I mean? And the FA gods has come up there and said, away at Man United, like, you know. West Ham struggling. That is a difficult one for them, West Ham, to go to Brentford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, they're under pressure as it is, you know. So, you know, listen, we've got a good draw there, and
good draw. Let's capitalise on that.
Enjoy it, you
know.
So
I'd say go pretty strong. But listen, looking forward to the games, and don't forget you can do AFTV PICK10. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. A prize pot of 12 grand this weekend. 10 grand for the FA Cup games, and a 2,000 prize pot special for the Arsenal versus Oxford game on Monday night. So click the link and you can get involved in that. It's a great bit of fun, and you can win yourself some cash as well. I'm looking forward to the FA Cup game this weekend. A little bit of rest from the Premier League. And then it's back for the big one next week, the North London derby, right? So looking forward to that. Lee?
I just want to say, like, you know, come and play against me in the AFTV PICK10 because I need a bit of competition, lads. You know
This
what I mean?
guy, man, he's totally me. Oh, I'll take it, isn't Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Subscribe here to AFTV. By the way, thank you very much. We just hit 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. We've got a million on Instagram, 1 million on Facebook, and that's all down to you guys. Thank you very much. Catch you next week. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.